I did not chide Constance for her morbid fantasies. As a matter of fact, the same sensation of being pursued by a persistent, fretful whale had forced itself on my rather overtired nerves. For company's sake, I hallooed to Esme, who had lagged somewhat behind. With a few springy bounds, he drew up level, and then shot past us. The wailing accompaniment was explained. The gypsy child was firmly, and I expect painfully, held in his jaws. "Merciful heaven!" screamed Constance. "What on earth shall we do? What are we to do?" I am perfectly certain that at the last judgment Constance will ask more questions than any of the examining seraphs. "Can't we do something?" she persisted tearfully, as Esme cantered easily along in front of our tired horses. Personally, I was doing everything that occurred to me at the moment. I stormed and scolded and coaxed in English and French and gamekeeper language. I made absurd, ineffectual cuts in the air with my thongless hunting crop, and hurled my sandwich case at the brute. In fact, I really don't know what more I could have done. And still we lumbered on through the deepening dusk, with that dark, uncouth shape lumbering ahead of us, and a drone of lugubrious music floating in our ears. Suddenly Esme bounded aside in some thick bushes, where we could not follow. The whale rose to a shriek, and then stopped altogether. This part of the story I always hurry over, because it is really rather horrible. When the beast joined us again, after an absence of a few minutes, there was an air of patient understanding about him, as though he knew that he had done something of which we disapproved, but which he felt to be thoroughly justifiable. "How can you let that ravening beast trot by your side?" asked Constance. She was looking more than ever like an albino beetroot. "In the first place, I can't prevent it," I said. "And in the second place, whatever else he may be, I doubt if he's ravening at the present moment." Constance shuddered. "Do you think the poor little thing suffered much?" came another of her futile questions. "The indications were all that way," I said. "On the other hand, of course, it may have been crying from sheer temper. Children sometimes do." It was nearly pitch dark when we emerged suddenly into the high road. A flash of lights and a whir of a motor went past us at the same moment at uncomfortably close quarters. A thud and a sharp screeching yell followed a second later. The car drew up, and when I had ridden back to the spot, I found a young man bending over a dark, motionless mass lying by the roadside. "You have killed my Esme!" I exclaimed bitterly. "I'm so awfully sorry," said the young man. "I keep dogs myself, so I know what you must feel about it. I'll do anything I can in reparation." "Please bury him at once," I said. "That much, I think, I may ask of you." "Bring the spade, William," he called to his chauffeur. Evidently, hasty roadside interments were contingencies that had been provided against. The digging of a sufficiently large grave took some little time. "I say, what a magnificent fellow," said the motorist as the corpse was rolled over into the trench. "I'm afraid he must have been rather a valuable animal." "He took second in the puppy class at Birmingham last year," I said resolutely. Constance snorted loudly. "Don't cry, dear," I said brokenly. "It was all over in a moment. He couldn't have suffered much." "Look here," said the young fellow desperately. "You simply must let me do something by way of reparation." I refused sweetly, but as he persisted, I let him have my address. Of course, We kept our own counsel as to the earlier episodes of the evening. Lord Pabham never advertised the loss of his hyena. When a strictly fruit-eating animal strayed from his park a year or two previously, he was called upon to give compensation in 11 cases of sheep worrying, and practically to restock his neighbours' poultry yards, and an escaped hyena would amount up to something on the scale of a government grant. The gypsies were equally unobtrusive over their missing offspring. I don't suppose in large encampments they really know to a child or two how many they've got. The Baroness paused reflectively, and then continued, "There was a sequel to the adventure, though. I got through the post a charming little diamond brooch, with the name Esme set in a sprig of rosemary. Incidentally, too, I lost the friendship of Constance Broddle. You see, when I sold the brooch, I quite promptly refused to give her any share of the proceeds. I pointed out that the Esme part of the affair was my own invention, and the hyena part of it belonged to Lord Pabham, if it really was his hyena, of which, of course, I have no proof."